Additional new information about the Idaho 4 case is coming out thanks to Dateline's new documentary about the case. They recently shared some footage of a white sedan going back and forth in front of the girls' home at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho. The sedan is last seen at 4:07 a.m. and then it reappears at 4:20 a.m., making its getaway. This crime went down in 13 minutes. It is believed that Kohberger, and I'll say allegedly because he's innocent until proven guilty, let's say the perpetrator went directly upstairs in the girl's house into Maddie Mogen's room, found Maddie there along with Kaylee, and we know what happened there. He then went down and apparently ran into Xana, so she was the third victim, and it is believed that Ethan Chapin was asleep in the bed, and the perpetrator used a sharp object on his lower legs. It's also come out that on his cell phone, Bryan Kohberger had dozens of photos of female students from Washington State University as well as the University of Idaho, and many of them were of females in swimming suits. We now know he was invited to a pool party on July 9th near Moscow, Idaho, and over the next month he visited Moscow, Idaho a dozen times. And in a 4-month period, he headed over to Moscow, Idaho, well, at least his cell phone did, 23 times, all of them after dark. Also, after the crime, it appears that Kohberger, starting maybe around 6:30 a.m., called his various family members 3 times. So that would have been around 6:30 a.m. Moscow, Idaho time, which would have been around 9:30 a.m. on the East Coast in Pennsylvania. Cell phone records also show that Kohberger did some interesting internet searches. He did one for sociopathic traits in college student. A month later in October, he searched for what I'm going to call P, as in child P, only it wasn't child P, it was just P, and he used the words drugged and sleeping with that. He also queried, can psychopaths behave pro-socially? And after the crime in Moscow, Idaho, he Googled the Idaho 4 case. So this is very interesting. He was at a pool party on July 9th near Moscow, Idaho. Could that have been where he found out about the girls at 1122 King Road? Did he maybe see Madison Mogen there? They do believe that Maddie was the intended target when the perpetrator went over to 1122 King Road, and that's because law enforcement say or believe that the perpetrator went straight upstairs to Madison's room where he found Maddie along with Kaylee, and then he went downstairs, and did he possibly run into Xana? Is that why Xana ended up on the floor unalived? And then Ethan Chapin was harmed while in bed, it sounds like, and a sharp object was used on his lower legs, and that must have been some major carving or cutting of the legs, if you know what I mean. This is going to be very interesting because more and more as we get closer to his trial, I believe we're going to get snippets of more evidence in the case. That's all for now, and I'll see you next time on Bed Crime Stories. Hey, please like, share, and subscribe.